Welcome back to the week of April 27 for our class. So what I'm going to start doing is to remind you of some of the things that we worked on last week. We introduced the phenomenon of the fraternal twins that look nothing alike. And we were trying to figure out, how come they look very different, even though they're twins, they come from the same mom and dad. After we did that, we answered a couple questions and we did some reflection. Then we started studying a few traits. So we talked about earlobe types, whether they were attached or unattached, which one's dominant and which one's recessive. And that's a very important table, by the way. I suggest that you make sure that you have access to it as you're watching this video. We talked about other traits such as dimples, hair type, type of chin, whether you have allergies or not, and we discussed them in detail. At the end of the session last week, you took a survey along with everybody else, and the survey asked you what kind of traits do you have. There's a reason why we did that, because we wanted to compare our traits to those of others. And what I'm going to do today, I'm going to show you people's responses, and we're going to use this data to try to make sense out of it. So at any time, feel free to pause the video and look at the pie charts and convert them as you need to. So if I click here on responses and I scroll down, it shows me that 64.1% of the students who answered, 64% said that they do not have attached earlobes. That, as a matter of fact, only 35 or 36% of them do. Now, what I want you to do this week, I want you to take this data and I want you to convert it from a pie chart to a bar graph. And I will share the data percentages with you in a minute. So again, from a pie chart to a bar graph. And so what I did, I set up my graph sheet. And, we've done this in class before. I put my traits on the x-axis and my percentage on the y-axis. And you can see how I've separated my grid into 10, 20, 30. You can separate them by 10s or 20s or any way that works for you. I also noticed in the pie charts that, most of the answers were either in a yes or no format. And so in order to make things easier for myself, I created a key where pink is yes and black is no. And so my first trait that we're studying is attached earlobes. And let me go back in here and find out the percentage. It says here that 64% of the people said no. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to my camera and I'm going to go to where it says, or use the code or the key for no, which is black box. 64% would be somewhere in the middle between 70 and 60, a little bit under the 65. And so here's my no. So that's 64% of people. You can always add the percentage on the top. And it was 64.1%. And then, what was it? 36%, almost 36% who said that yes, they do have attached earlobes. So again, a little bit over the 35. Here's my 36%. And obviously, if you want to use a ruler, feel free to do so and, give me a nicer graphic. So you're going to do the same thing, but finish up all the traits. And then after you do so, this would be your first part of the assignment. After you come up with your graph, I want you to go ahead and copy and answer the questions below. So you're going to, do these on your own sheets, separate sheets. I want to see both of them handwritten. So you'll copy and answer questions below on a separate sheet. The first question says, which results did you find surprising and why? So when you look at other people's results, which ones did you find them surprising and why did you think, that's pretty surprising or it was unexpected? The second question says, does dominant necessarily mean more common? And I know we've asked this question before, but I did notice that a lot of students answered it wrong. So I'm not going to say what the right answer is, but what I want you to do, I want you to go to the Google document that you shared with me last week, open that up, and then go to the graph that you just worked on, the bar graph. Explain your answer using evidence from your traits analysis and this week's graph that you created. So maybe you want to find a dominant trait and you want to see, is it always more common? Or does it not necessarily mean that it's, does dominant necessarily, or doesn't necessarily mean more common? See, which side are you on? Does dominant always mean more common? Or dominant could be rare. It doesn't have to be more common. What do you think? My, I'm not looking for whether you have the right answer or not. I want to see your thought process. And so, I'll be reading this thoroughly. Question number 2. Okay, so this is the second thing that you've completed. And obviously, for you to complete the first and the second task, you need this data. So you may want to pause at this time to look at each one of the pie charts. For attached earlobes, again, it's a 64.1 with a 35.9% for yes. For interlocking hands, does your right thumb go on the top? 62.4% the people said yes. 37.6% the people said no. For rolling your tongue, 82.4% of the people said yes. 17.6% said no. Check out the data for dimples. For allergies. For right-handed versus left-handed. Right, and so you can see that only 6.5% of our students in my classes are left-handed. For color blindness and for dimple chin. So now that you have all the numbers, you can come up with the bar graph. You can answer the questions. You're done with the assignment for the week. That's it. Very easy. But you still have to do the participation of the week. And so, as you know, we're in a state of transition from Google Meet into the Big Blue Button. And the Big Blue Button is a software on iLearn. So I don't expect to see you on the Big Blue Button this week, but I do expect that you will enroll in my iLearn course. I know that most of you are already enrolled, but the other thing that you have to do is that you have to enroll in a certain group. So I'm just going to show you real quick what to do. You go to iLearn. So, you go to moodle.dearbornschools.org. You log in, and it will show you a home screen just like mine. So actually, let me sign out and show you how to do that. Log out. So again, your main page will look something like this. You put your district's ID or your student ID, and you put your password and log in. It will take you to a dashboard, and then you put the enrollment code. What I'm going to do on Google Classroom and in your email, I'm going to send you my class code again, and I'm going to send you your group code. So you're going to put 2 codes for my class. One is for your class and one is for your specific hour. Make sure that you enroll in both of them. Again, where do you find them? You'll find them in your school's email and on the Google Classroom. If you have any questions, please let me know. As long as you're enrolled in both the class and the group, you will get your participation for this week. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you next week. We'll talk. Again, before I hang up, this is due Sunday. Let's see, the 3rd, May 3rd at midnight. Okay, talk to you soon.